This is part 2 of the last thing that I posted, and it would be best to go look at that before this, because it just picks up right where that one left off, and that's not good for your knowledge. So go watch that, and then you can watch this, unless you're here from that, in which, hello, there was no intro to this thing. So, hi. So I want to give the synopsis of this story for anyone who doesn't understand kid lingo. So our protagonist, Annie Grace. I think Annie Grace is supposed to be her last name, but I like the idea that her full name is, like, it's a double name of Annie Grace. So Annie Grace, our awesome protagonist, love this girl, is worried, is super excited for Valentine's Day, but also slightly worried because what if she doesn't get a card? So she goes to Valentine's Day, and she does get a lot of cards because they're mandatory. That's to me, that's to the author, girl, they're mandatory. You're in elementary school, you know this. If you're unaware, the elementary school tradition of America is that, or wherever it is, I don't know if this is not a universal thing, is that everyone in elementary school hands Valentine's Day cards out to everyone. Usually they'll have either a, like, trinket, toy, gift thing that, like, you go to, like, the Target section, like, dollar section, grab some things, or you get the packs in the holiday section. And sometimes they have candy, so that was the candy mentioned, is that a lot of the times Valentine's Day comes with candy. That stops at middle school. I stopped getting candy. We did a whole thing my freshman year of high school for Valentine's Day. In, like, my freshman class that we had. We had to, like, take a freshman class of all the freshmen. It was stupid. So she gets this card from this guy that's saying, like, I was looking at the transcript that they have written for me. And first of all, they think I am multiple speakers. Probably because of how much I pause. But it's also just wrong. Anyways, so she gets this card that says, I want to read it out again. I need to find it again. So I'll show it. There's like 2 pages in between the next page of writing because I'm a mess. Okay, so it says, so the card she gets is this frilly little card that has love on it. And it says, puppies, kitties, goldfish, too. Pets are my favorite, too. It never says that Annie Grace likes pets. It never says, nowhere does it say that Annie Grace likes pets. It'd be really, if I'm, like, critiquing myself, everything was fine so far. But, the card inaccuracies. That was bad. And then it would have been great that if like, Annie Grace was listing a lot of her favorite things, or if when she said, like, I really like Valentine's Day. I also really like cute animals, like puppies and kitties and goldfish. That would have been funny. And that would have been good, and then would have been great to reference later. I've learned in my 10 years, in the decade-ish between when this was written. Like, less than a decade between when this was written. Great job, girl. Great job. But she's like, this card can't be for me. So she's got to figure it out. And I don't know if I mentioned earlier, I wanted to be a detective when I grew up as a kid. Didn't happen. I'm just now into Sherlock & Co., which is a really good podcast. Shocker, modern retelling of Sherlock Holmes, but if Dr. John Watson was a podcaster. You can take that as you will. So she's like, this card cannot be for me. That could have also been I don't fucking like fish. Or this guy is never, I've never talked about liking this stuff. Or this guy has never even talked to me. Why do you talk to me? Can you tell that this girl's last relationship was when she was 5? I write romance now. Romance is a part of a lot of the things that I write. It's not like the main thing that I write, but it's a part of a lot of things that I write. So it's funny they haven't dated since I was 5. But I had people ask me out, and I don't think at this age anyone had asked me out. Or, like, told me that I was cute or anything. Anyways, she goes to her sister. The sister we mentioned earlier, which was fun. It's a good callback. It would have been fun if we knew she had a brother. That's not really. That could have just been thrown in, and that's fine. So she talks to her sister. Her sister wasn't listening. She talks to her brother. Her brother says something I don't understand. Could have been fun if he mentioned, I can't talk right now, I gotta get ready for my date. Like we mentioned before, he goes on a date later. Because it's Valentine's Day. Of course he goes on a date. This all happens in the same day. So she's like, okay, I gotta get serious about this. I gotta examine the card. This is so stupid. Because she's like, okay, we gotta check it, see if this is really for me, with her friend Abby, who she goes over to her house. It would have been great if we mentioned, I'm gonna go over to Abby's house and see before we have to do the whole, like, then I went home. First I was at Abby's house, and now I'm at my house, and I am in my bed. That wasn't necessary. But, this entire story isn't necessary. So, her friend she's at her friend's, and her friends, and they look at the card, and they're like, what does it say? And, on it, and when they look, there's a name written, and it says, Annie Grace on it. And she's like, that's my name! They're like, wow! Oh, when I said earlier, I was like, I didn't know what that said. I think it says, I fainted, Abby said, wow. It just looked like farted to me, and I was like, no. That is, from living with a kid this age, their humor, though. So, Abby goes home, and she sits and thinks about the card. Okay, so we never get to know how Annie Grace feels about the card. We never get to know if Annie Grace is happy to receive this love card, or if she's upset. We just get to know that she's confused, which does imply that Annie Grace doesn't see herself as deserving of this card. I'm laughing so I don't cry, because this is really sad. Annie Grace, no, Annie Grace is me. I think what would have made this better, absolutely the concept way better, is if the card initially said to Annie Grace, where like she could read that it said her name under the note, but then they look at the card, and on the card is like an erased name, the indent of the name. She does some sort of like thing to reveal it, because you know this stuff. You wanted to be a detective so bad, girl. And then they reveal it, and it says that it's Jam. I'm still going with Jam. Jam is really funny. I was trying to say James. I was really trying to say James. I was sure I was trying to say James. But yeah, that's my critique of this 7-year-old's story that she wrote. Somebody just gets that out of context and is like, who is she talking about? Why is this teenager critiquing a 7-year-old? It's because I'm the 7-year-old. I think I made that clear. If I were to go through and list every single spelling error in this entire story, I would lose it. There are so many. The title is a spelling error. Oh, so I wrote this all in like Sharp. This is all written on like a pen. Not a pen, like a marker. That's the story. That's the story of Annie Grace and the mysterious love note. This is somehow the longest I have talked, and it's about my own old story. That's hilarious to me.